Welcome to the Waiting Warriors podcast. As loved ones of first responders and military personnel, we often face life situations and challenges that many others don't experience. And while each of us and our experiences are unique, together we can learn from one another and become stronger in this journey of life. Now let's step out of mediocrity. It's time to thrive. Hi, Waiting Warriors, and welcome to a first for the podcast because we are doing a dual interview today. I have Madeline and Jamie, who are both Army wives and co-founders of Deploy Joy Co., which is a special box. You can do subscription if you want, or you can just get one at a time for kids during deployments. So hi, guys, and welcome to the show.
Hi, Michelle. Thanks for having us.
Hi, Michelle.
So we're going to talk today about how we can help our kids through long-term separations with a little less pain and a lot more purpose. And I know that sounds really good. That's like a good phrase. I do have to relinquish the rights. I didn't come up with it. They did. I'm just saying it right now. So just to give credit where credit is due. So guys, take us back to before Deploy Joy Co. Why did you guys start focusing so much time and energy on helping military kids? Like, what happened to spark all of that?
It really started from our own struggles, right, Jamie? It was, we've been friends since, I think, 2017. We met while our husbands were in training, and we both have two little boys, and we were trying to figure out how to navigate Army life and all the ups and downs with the boys and feel like there was a little less stress in the all of the different absences and times away that we found they were spending from their dads and from just out of their routines.
Mm-hmm. So what kind of things happened with your boys? Was it just it was hard to handle them on your own, or were there things that they were portraying even at just a young age that you could tell they were struggling?
So I personally noticed it before my own Army experience. I had a friend who went through it, and that's kind of what my first experience was. Just witnessing different behavior struggles and like kind of being on the outside. I think it's easier to want to find a solution because I was able to see it and be like, I want to help fix, like, how can I help fix this? Where when you're in it, you're almost too exhausted to really be like, what can I do right now? So I think having that experience before was like, wow, this is something like that we need to try to figure out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I just, Jamie's oldest is a little bit older than mine. My oldest will be 3 this summer. So we had some times when, it was the regular toddler stuff corresponding with dad being gone for a couple months and feeling like, okay, I'm the only parent he has here right now. I'm the one that he knows, day in and day out. And I need the resources to feel like I'm doing this as well as I can, that I'm doing him, right, and doing the best I can with all of the resources that are out there. But there didn't really seem to be great resources out there. Everything felt really outdated or general or not really applicable to first responder and military situations.
Mm-hmm. You mean you didn't become super fascinated with those pamphlets that they have at like all the recruiting stations or FRG meetings that were clearly made in like the 80s or 90s?
Exactly.
Strangely not. Yeah, that wasn't really doing it for me.
I can't believe that didn't just grasp your attention and you're like, yes, this is our family.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, to echo Jamie, there were every friend I came across, no matter how old the kids were, was struggling with feeling like they had the resources they needed to get through deployments.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so what are those resources that we need? How do we help our kids thrive through separations?
Do you want to start, Jamie, or do you have
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. I think it starts before deployments. I think feeling like you have for parents, I think feeling like you have a go-to person, that, a friend, a best friend, a parent, somebody in your life who you can honestly talk to about what you're struggling with, and who doesn't pass judgment on whatever it is. So having that person kind of lined up before, and I know that's easier said than done with all of the times we move and starting over and all of that. But really finding kind of that point person that you can hunker down with through the months. As far as for kids, that's what we're really hoping to design. I think that we need sort of a marriage of positive activities and things that can promote moments of joy, moments of creativity, moments of engagement, and things that spark love too, between parents and kids. Because those, there are lots of studies out there about positive psychology that show that these small moments of positive emotions can actually do a lot of good over periods of hardship. So there are studies on grief and showing that people who experience, fleeting moments of joy or other positive things over 12 months are, more likely to come out of it successfully. So there's a lot of research, more geared toward adults, I think, but there's stuff for kids too. And so we think coming up with those activities and being able to send them out, as well as giving parents the parenting support that they need, is sort of the best way to survive a deployment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think to add to that is something that we try to touch on a lot with our Instagram posts and kind of what we communicate is understanding the difference between what Madeline said before, toddler stress, and actually missing the parent.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what is it? And I think when the parents get overly stressed, solo parenting, we tend to react differently than how we should in that situation.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a huge goal with the activities that we're sending is stress relieving, sort of anxiety calming down, and that the parents can take a load off and understand the process as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was something I was thinking when I first heard about you guys' boxes, is that I love it because it's kind of just one less thing that we as a parents have to worry about at home, because I feel like one of the stressors is, okay, everybody knows their kid is experiencing things because one of the spouses is gone or one of the parents is gone. But then it's like, okay, well, I've got to compensate somehow, which puts a whole load and a whole bunch of work that we want to do and we're willing to do, but it is exhausting to do. So I love that you guys have just created the resource of let us help you do that instead of having to search on Pinterest or search online for 1,000,000 hours for stuff that would actually work and fit. It's just all neatly packaged in this nice little box, which is awesome.
Yeah, I want to add to that, just kind of what we were talking about is that it does get so emotionally exhausting for the adults, and our huge focus is the kids. But if we are so overworked, it almost feels impossible to kind of help them out and rein back what's really happening here, because we're emotionally exhausted. So that is, I think that's going to be important for us.
Mm-hmm. So I know you guys kind of focus on deployments not just being something that we finish, but really taking the opportunity to grow and learn and find the joy. So how is it that you guys with your boxes or Instagram are helping people do those things?
Yeah, so with the boxes, so each box is targeted toward a specific theme and something that we've identified is a common pain point for parents and kids while they're away. So one of those things we address every time is helping kids connect to the parent who's far away. And because it's hard, I mean, our boxes are targeted toward 4 to 7-year-olds. So they don't always feel like sitting down and having a FaceTime conversation. And sometimes, if you don't go into it with a plan, it kind of just ends up being, how was your day? Oh, show me, something you're playing with. And it can feel kind of empty. Like it's nice to see each other, but there's not this ongoing, meaningful relationship. And I think it's something that bothers parents probably more than kids. But if we can make those relationships feel more fluid over time, that's something that we really want to have in our boxes. So that's the first thing. The second is providing resources for parents. And this is something that kind of crept up on us as we started as let's serve the kids. Let's give them, the moments of growth and joy. And then it ended up turning into, we're still giving the kids all of that, but wow, here's a chance to really share what we're learning with parents. And nobody has time to read through journal articles when you're solo parenting bunch of little kids. And so that's kind of the ownership that we're taking. And we're saying, this is the newest stuff. This is what people are recommending. And we can kind of filter it for military families. So saying like, well, here's what the research shows is effective for helping kids with stress. Here's what's actually going to be useful in your military life. If something requires 2 parents or a more traditional family or time, it's probably not going to suit somebody's family during deployment. So providing the information for parents to feel like they're growing. So we do that with our Joy Journal, which is the parent insert for every box that explains what's in there, the research benefits, and then more reading if they're so inclined, so that they can grow too.
Mm-hmm.
And so a huge thing that parents miss out on, or that kids fear, is that the parent that's gone is going to miss what's happening. And we are including things in the box that are going to last longer than the deployment. So if it was, this happened, we're recording a journal. So then they would keep that journal. Or if it's going to be pictures or like, I grew this much, just different kinds of things that we've discussed. And then, they'll keep those for after the deployment. The parent gets home, they might have a few things to give them in the time that they were gone, even if it's something short, a month, 3 months, whatever they end up doing. So they have those items that they can keep, and they can talk about, wow, why was this? How did this help you? How did this impact you? We want to help parents figure out how to talk with the kids about stuff. So not just being like, this is super cool. They'll see it and discuss what kind of growth happened in the kid when they see that. Like, what do they feel when they see that item?
Mm-hmm. So kind of like you're helping everybody figure out how to go kind of one step deeper instead of just the surface level, which I totally understand and feel like when Madeline was talking and then you guys were talking, like we've had those family FaceTimes where we are so excited to see each other, but then we just have nothing to say. And it stays very surface level. And then when he comes home, he's tired, we're tired, but we're excited. Like we're so excited to be each other. But again, it's just this like flat conversation, and that's not what we want it to be. So I like that you guys kind of are giving the steps, because I mean, I think my husband is more naturally inclined to do that, but I know I'm not. Like that is not my personality. That is not a skill set that I have. So I appreciate that you guys are just providing the teaching and the education, because then we can be, I think a lot of us feel that and it's like, okay, this isn't how we want it to be, but then what do we do, you know? So
yeah, it's that discomfort and just like, we know that we've signed up for a certain lifestyle, or maybe we didn't when we, got into the military, but yeah, but it's like, but I still feel so strongly that we deserve to feel like we're thriving as a family, and that there's not, that this time apart isn't just going to be a detriment to us, that we're not going to be, damaged or behind or whatever you feel when your spouse gets home, that it's maybe a little bit unconventional, but it can still be a period of, growth and joy and happiness. And, you might have to look a little bit harder or change your expectations, which is something we talk a lot about, for what that looks like. But we just believe so strongly that it can be, if we make every month purposeful, that it can be something that we look back on and say, gosh, that was hard, but look at where, look at what we became after or because of it.
it's like I keep on thinking of the phrase, I'm so proud of myself, but it was just my head came up with it like a month or two ago, is just because it's hard doesn't mean it has to be miserable. And I like that that's what you're helping us do is, yes, this is hard. No one will ever argue that, whether it's a deployment or just a long TDY, a training for the like police officers. I know they get like months to almost a year of graveyard shift. And so they're not seeing their kids, or firefighters are gone for a 10. Like all first responders and military's families experience this, but it is so hard. But that doesn't mean that we can't implement tools and knowledge to help it be growing and happy, even though I don't think anybody would ever expect it to be happy 24/7. But I like what you said earlier, that it's just purposefully putting in those joyful, those even fleeting joyful moments here and there. So then when we look back, it wasn't a miserable experience.
Yeah, and I think those little moments, that we might not realize for, years to come, but, I think about even things that I went through in my own childhood, and, hard times or things that my family went through, and, looking back and saying like, wow, that gave me some really amazing life skills, even though it was so stressful during the, while we were going through it, or, at the time we wished it hadn't happened. But I think we can give those to our kids too. And but it really does start, like you said, with self-care and mental health, and supporting the parents. So that's what we're hoping to do too, is to create the community for parents to talk honestly and just be there for each other. Because sometimes, even though you're living within a community, or people that are going through the same thing, it's everybody else is tired too. So it can be hard to have a conversation about the stuff you want, especially if you're with your kids. So
yeah, well, it's like we go to church every Sunday, and I see a lot of the other spouses who have older kids, like they're talking and stuff, and they'll ask me questions, and it's like, guys, I love you, but Sunday is not like the social hour for me, because I've got 3 little kids that I'm chasing around a building. And if you're anywhere with your kids, I don't want to say like never talk to me if you see me with my kids, but like that's kind of how I feel. Like, no, don't talk to me, because then my kid will run away, and we'll be at a grocery store and she'll open up a package of Oreos and start eating it like right there in the store. Yeah. Will happen like that. Or if you're at a park,
someone's always halfway across the parking lot by the time you try to get out of a conversation.
Yeah, it's like, yes, we should try to socialize, do a play group or go to a coffee or something like that. But I do like that you guys are providing this online, because then when my kids are in bed, then I can
you can engage on your own terms.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
They can't
Yeah, something that we talked about pretty early on is having that location for the community for spouses, but speaking honestly but positively, because we think it's pretty hard. You get with your group and you're like, oh, he's gone again, this is really hard, and you can start to have a negative mindset even towards the military. So we decided, I think, right away that we didn't want to do that. Like, we want to be able to vent and be honest about it, but we want to try to spin it and find something positive in it. And that's pretty much what we're doing with the box, understanding that everything's really tough, but we are determined to find positives through all of it.
Right. Because really, it's like, if you just focus on the negative, because I think there's a difference between acknowledging and I know, like, a common term with personal development and kind of feeling the bad feelings is like honoring that feeling.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't mean we have to sit in it. And when I think of sitting in it, I think of huddling with your friends and talking about it for forever. But it's just, yes, this is going on. And maybe for a night, like, we've all cried ourselves to sleep. We've all just been in a moment with our kids and thought, I want my husband here right now to help me. But we can say that happened and acknowledge that happened, but still wake up the next morning and say, okay, what am I going to do about it? Because I don't want to be in this forever. But if I just talk about it, then I'm not getting anywhere. So it's like, let's figure out some sort of action plan.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what we're hoping to communicate to parents, that they can do with their kids too, that these, you're going to have a lot of feelings and they do have a lot of feelings. They freely share. And saying, like, yeah, this is really hard, and just to teach them to sit with it and to acknowledge it, because it's so key to say, yeah, this is a tough time, or this is a hard thing, or this really hurts. And then, because you definitely have to acknowledge it in yourself, in your kids, in your marriage, before you can, move forward, come up with a plan, make it actionable, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Okay, last question, and I want to hear from both of you. What is your key to thriving that you want to share with your fellow waiting warriors?
Do you want to go first, or?
You can go first on this one.
Okay. Thriving as a spouse or a business person, or both?
Both.
Okay, so this one's tough for me to answer right now today, because yesterday I was having a really hard day and I was like, I'm not going to make it. But today's been amazing. So it just turned around, and I woke up with a good attitude. So the key to thriving for me, I would say overall, is staying connected with friends. Most of my relationships are via cell phone, and having like military spouses to reach out to. So I will reach out to Madeline if I'm feeling really negative about something, and keeping positive influences around, where she talks me off the ledge sometimes, where she's like, no, you're doing amazing, you can get through this. And I think that that's been really important, because I do have friends that aren't used to the military lifestyle, and they don't quite get it. And I just kind of I roll my eyes a little bit at the advice, because understanding somebody not speaking with your husband for a few weeks is a lot different than he couldn't call me for 2 days or a night.
Mm-hmm.
So having friends that truly understand your pain points, and thriving as a parent, I guess, since that's what we do, I think, is holding on to your response before you want to just say something to the kids. And I think that's helped me a lot is, like I said earlier, I know that if Zach is gone, my husband, if he's gone for a long time and I'm with Drake by myself for, let's say, 5 days even, I can tell that my irritability is way worse by the end of the week than it was at the beginning. So I'm trying to slow down, not respond, think it through, and realize that we're both going through this together.
I like that. Okay, Madeline, what about yours?
I was thinking about this. I think I had a different answer actually earlier this week, and then I was thinking about it last night, and I changed. But I think mine is really acknowledging the hard things with the people you love. So I think, well, I know I have a tendency to be a people pleaser and to try to make things happy and positive and to keep things easy, especially for the people I love. So it can feel really unnatural for me to say, I need help, this is hard, this doesn't feel right. So saying those things to my husband or to asking my family to support me, getting out of my comfort zone and saying, like, I really need somebody to be here with me in this, or reaching out to friends and saying, do you mind taking so-and-so for just an afternoon so I can get to the doctor or whatever. So like just really admitting to myself, this isn't something I can do alone. I really need the people around me to come around and help. And I think people are so willing to, if we're willing to ask. And for me, that's always the hardest part. So I think by seasons, when I think of when I'm thriving, it's when, I've asked for the help I need, and not given myself any judgment for what's falling through the cracks or what our family looks like at any given time, because this is a hard season with little ones and the lifestyle we live.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. I like both of those. I always love hearing people's key to thriving because it just makes me think, and it's like, yeah, they're good just to remember. It's like, that's what I need to do. Don't forget those things. They're so good. Oh, last question. If people want to connect with Deploy Joy Co., get a box, or just become part of the parenting community, where should they go?
So you can go to our website, deployjoyco.com. So that's deployjoyco.com. Our Instagram is the same at deployjoyco, or on Facebook we have the same page there.
/deployjoyco.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And guys, Jamie's training to do is it a full marathon or a half? Half.
It's so next weekend. Yeah.
You gotta hop on.
Or it's this weekend. Yes.
It's just, when they say community, they mean community. They're not just like on Instagram, like, this is what you do to raise your children. It's not some lecture. It's you get to join in with them. It's awesome.
Madeline just started a workout class, a stroller workout class.
Yeah, Stroller Strong Moms.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, we will put the links to those things in the show notes. Thank you guys so much for coming on here and talking to us and sharing with us your passion and your light and the insight that you guys have gained and how we can help our kids. Thank you so much. And thank you for the work that you're doing. It's awesome. You. And I think we'll have a big impact. So all you Waiting Warriors, go check them out. Deploy Joy Co. Go check them out, and you guys have a great week. Hey everyone, I have a favor to ask. If you have enjoyed this podcast, can you leave a review and subscribe? I promise it just takes a second, and that will help more people find this podcast. Also, I'd love for you to join us in our Facebook group. Just go to facebook.com/thewaitingwarrior, click groups, and then The Waiting Warriors. Until next time, have an awesome day.